Anyway, we're going to talk about it. New coronavirus is coming, I hope. No, I mean, I don't hope. I mean, I think. What's going on? If there's another lockdown, I don't know. It's fine with me, man. That's fine with me, I guess. Fuck it. It is what it is. What am I going to do? I'm going to have to survive like the last time.
Are racing to contain a deadly outbreak of Hantavirus that's linked to this cruise ship in the Atlantic.
Who
The
comes
Dutch
up with these
airline
names?
KLM says one of the ship's passengers who later died after contracting the virus
Damn.
boarded a flight in South Africa before the plane's crew decided she was too sick to travel. The Georgia Department of Public Health says 2 people who returned home to the state after getting off the ship are being monitored right now. And one Arizona resident who was also on board is also being watched by officials there. And according to the New York Times, California residents were on the ship.
Who's watching them? What do you mean? Who's watching them? Just some dude in like a big hazmat suit is just there?
CNN's Randy Kay looks now at how this virus may have spread.
This was an expedition boat, and many of the people on board were doing bird watching.
Turns out a bird watching tour may be the source of this Hantavirus outbreak.
Bird watching.
According to the Associated Press, 2 Argentine officials investigating how this started said their government is leaning toward the idea that a Dutch couple contracted the virus while bird watching in the city of Ushuaia, Argentina, before boarding the ship. The AP reports the couple visited a landfill during the tour and may have been exposed to infected rodents.
That's fair. I don't know. I feel sorry. I tried to hit my mute, but Twitter has broken my brain. That I look at something like this and I go, that's like a reasonable thing to say. Oh yeah, bird watchers got, bird shit, bird filth, bird feather. What birds are nasty. All rodents and animals are just disgusting. And they contract and spread disease like crazy. So, I don't know. We got to look on Twitter what they're saying.
That 70-year-old Dutch man.
On after this, because, like, dude, I'm sure they're like China or something. Who are they blaming?
Was the first to die on the ship days after they left port in Argentina. His 69-year-old wife died about 2 weeks later.
Damn.
The rest of the people on board, including nearly 150 passengers, are now on a 3 to 4 day journey from Cape Verde to Tenerife in the Canary Islands. Spain has agreed to receive the ship there. Upon arrival, the plan is for all passengers to be taken to a nearby airport and sent back to their home countries. The 14 Spanish citizens will be examined and go directly into quarantine at a Madrid hospital.
This is the country of Cape Verde in front of us, but it is forbidden to go.
Isn't this just more of a reason why you don't leave your house? Why we are just continuing to go more inside focus? I mean, living indoors, working indoors, even though the concept of that is insane, right? Because everything you need is outdoors to get, right? Most of the time. But yeah, no, some damn bird watching people in the middle of the ocean got a little too close to some bird who was fucked up.
Down to it.
This travel vlogger on board posted on social media about the predicament they now find themselves in.
Today was supposed to be the last day of our 35-day trip on the Atlantic, but it is clear that our journey will not end here because Cape Verde refused to receive us on its coasts.
Earlier today, this medical evacuation boat removed 3 sick people from the ship. On their way to the Netherlands, a source from Spain's health ministry told CNN that Morocco refused to let the plane carrying 2 of the evacuees land to refuel. Instead, it made an unscheduled landing at Gran Canaria Airport.
Okay, well, that's good.
People are usually infected through contact with infected.
I love air traffic controllers are crazy. The fact that it's like they didn't land without fuel, and then I was like, whoa, so they just let them crash in the middle of the ocean? Oh no, they just landed somewhere else, as always. Like, okay. Yeah, some dude from another tower was like, come on in, buddy.
Rodents, or their urine, their droppings, or their saliva. Human-to-human transmission is uncommon.
Yet in this case, the World Health Organization believes the virus may have been transmitted person to person on board. And just today, following lab tests, confirmed this is the Andes strain of the virus, which has spread among close contacts before.
We're also working with authorities for anyone that has left the ship.
In fact, the Swiss Federal Office of Public Health has confirmed that a passenger who traveled on the first leg of the voyage and disembarked at St. Helena on April 24th,
he fucked
has
off.
now tested positive for
Oh,
hantavirus.
No. Oh,
that
shit.
passenger, according to the cruise company, is being treated at a hospital in Zurich.
Okay, well,
His
that's
wife,
good.
who was with him, has not shown symptoms but is self-isolating as a precaution. Randy Kay, CNN, New York.
Isn't it just like these things always happen like hot? Maybe not always, obviously not always, but like hot, humid, ocean, fucking lots of birds and rodents and just muss. Because I'm like, when is the last time it happened? When was the last time a disease broke out in like Canada, Greenland, Russia, all the cold areas? Everything's dead there. Everything's dead. Maybe that is the strat going forward. We just all live in Iceland forever.
And today, a German woman who may have been exposed to the virus on board that ship was picked up by a convoy of emergency vehicles after being flown to Amsterdam. Doctors say the woman is in stable condition but remains quarantined. For more on what life is like for the 150 people still on board the infected ship, I want to bring in CNN's Melissa Bell. Wow. I mean, personally, this would be my worst nightmare.
Wow.
To be on this ship, knowing what's going on with this virus that can incubate for up to 8 weeks, right, Melissa?
That's right. With all the confusion and uncertainty that has gone on the ship itself, you know,
it's incubating all right. It's incubating up to 8 weeks. You're cooked.
Captain's announcement that was made the
That's a
day
huge
after
time lag. That's 2 months.
The Dutchman died, explaining that he died and that they believed that it was natural causes and so on. And it was only later, much later, that it was understood that this virus had been at play. The company that runs the ship has put out a statement explaining that it wasn't known at the time. It took them some time to figure out that this was a virus and that everyone needed to quarantine. And of course, as we just heard, people then disembarked in St. Helena. There was another disembarkation in Ascension Island. 3 more people disembarked at Cape Verde because by then we knew the virus was going around and these were suspected or confirmed cases. For those still on board, what we understand is happening, Pamela, is that
this is so crazy. If this, I hope not, but if this becomes a world national pandemic, which I don't think will happen because those are obviously very rare. But if they got to come up with a better name, obviously, but also it's like these things happen on the stupidest things. It's like a bird watching boat, and you got cooked.
Quarantined in their own rooms. They're
Birds
staying
1,
inside
human
their
0.
cabins. Their food is being brought to them there, and all the precautions are being taken so that there are no further infections or transmissions of this Andes strain of hantavirus. Now, at least they have a port in sight, and this had been unclear for some time, really until yesterday. We didn't know what port would accept taking in this ship and dealing then with what will be a very complicated operation to get these 147 passengers off, all the crew members off as well, to quarantine them and to successfully take them to where they need to go. You showed a moment ago that convoy in Germany. That is just one passenger suspected, confirmed, but still one passenger getting from
Bro, that's crazy. Can we just pause and look at this crude oil map with the start of war dot? Start of Iran war, and it just peaked. Damn.
Ship to Amsterdam and onwards to a hospital that can treat them. Imagine
profits and war go hand in hand, buddy.
Going to get off the ship. We've just been hearing, however, from the World Health Organization,
high prices
and
and
they
war,
say
we love
that
it.
beyond the 5 confirmed cases and the 3 people who sadly died, there has been no further identified transmission on board. So that is the good news. But again, this is a strain of the virus that has an incubation period of 8 weeks, which substantially complicates things for anyone.
Oh,
who's been in
here.
contact
Symptoms.
with
Fatigue, fever, chills, aches, death is a symptom. That's good. Organ failure, severe shortness of breath, damage to organs. I think the ones on the right hand side are probably something you would notice right away, I would assume. But these are like, you could have anything.
either people who've left or for those who are.
If you think you have a common cold, you could also die tomorrow. Well, great. Okay.
Still
awesome.
on the ship or will be in contact with them when they get off, Pamela.
Off the coast of West Africa,
amazing news.
A cruise ship under quarantine.
Yeah, that's the doctor.
3 more passengers medically evacuated, all tied to a deadly outbreak of Hantavirus, a rare, typically rodent-borne disease with no specific treatment or
It's
cure.
always these damn rodents, man.
The open decks of the MV Hantavirus deserted. Dining rooms empty. Passengers told to stay in their cabins.
Hi, I'm Jake, and I'm spending the next 35 days crossing the Atlantic visiting some of the most remote islands in the world.
This is how the journey began for Jake Rosemarine, a Boston photographer, one of around 150 people on board.
Damn, that's
people
crazy.
With families,
oh,
with
no.
lives, with people waiting for us at home.
Health officials are now retracing the ship's route, trying to figure out where.
Bro, that's so scary, man. It's so frightening to be like like that's a Netflix documentary right there. But you got all this footage of your great journey, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, you have a brand new virus outbreak on your ship. What? Come on.
When
are you kidding me?
Passengers became infected. Their 35-day expedition began from the edge of Antarctica, visiting some of the most remote islands in the South Atlantic.
On those islands,
pretty. Those penguins are
birds.
nice.
Some islands have a lot of rodents, others don't.
Hantavirus is usually picked up by breathing in particles from rodent droppings or urine. Symptoms often start like the flu, but can quickly cause severe breathing problems, organ failure, and death. The incubation period.
How those rodents surviving then? That's crazy. Yo, rodents are up. Their fucking immune systems are crazy. They're just carrying that shit around. Do rodents die from this virus? Do they just do their rodent thing and then die from the virus? And then whoever just smells it just passes on. Just, he's passing it on as he's living his rodent life. And then all of a sudden, as he dies in front of his rodent family, and his wife is crying and his children are fucking crying. Anyway.
1 to 8 weeks. Lab tests have yet to confirm it, but investigators think this may be a rare South American strain that sometimes spreads not just from rodents, but between people.
Among the really close contacts, the husband and wife, people who've shared cabins, etc.
This small boat medically evacuated a handful of infected passengers. Investigators say the outbreak began in early
why wouldn't
April.
it go from
The first
human to
victim,
human?
A Dutch passenger, died on board April 11th. His wife died around 2 weeks later in a hospital in South Africa. A third passenger, a German national, died on board on May 2nd. A British passenger remains in intensive care. Everyone else stuck on board, undergoing medical checks.
The thing is, I live in a part of the world that largely makes fun of people who wear masks, people who wear masks outside. The typical white trash people who are like wearing your diaper, your chin diaper. You're like, what if they all had masks on? Like, come on. Before the bird watching, when you were around the rodents, just imagine. Maybe it doesn't happen.
Situation.
I'm not saying wear a mask at 24/7, freak out and be like, oh my God. But if you're going to go to a highly infested rat island with a bunch of rodents and birds, maybe put a mask on next time. I don't know.
Kent and Rebecca Frazier know all too well.
We don't know how long you had to stay in the hostel.
I met them back in 2020. They were quarantined on the Diamond Princess cruise ship off Japan.
What's the hardest part?
I'd say the unknown.
Rebecca, one of the first Americans to test positive for COVID.
Oh, yeah, that's crazy.
She's standing in the window right now. Rebecca, here we are. Hi. She spent weeks in a Tokyo hospital. Kent was quarantined in their cabin.
Hi, here we are. It's us, the news. You're gonna die soon, so the news showed up.